Dementia is a very scary and very real subject most families have had to deal with in some form or another. Whether it is a grandma who forgets their grandchildren or an uncle who thinks he is somewhere else and stumbles out of the house lost, it can be very hard to keep an eye on them and keep them safe. Nurses see this all the time too. Patients come in with altered mental statuses and need to be watched constantly while there, but they don't always have the personnel on the floor to do so. Thankfully, we have the ever-evolving world of technology at our disposal and have machines like the AV-Assist monitors and bed alarms which can help alert nurses when something happens. It is important that families and patients alike know that they are safe and that the hospital can keep track of everything going on at once to make sure everything is going smooth and that they are getting the proper care that the patient needs to get better as fast as possible. From automated IV pumps and wireless monitors to cameras manned by professionals, communication in hospitals is growing every day thanks to technology. Currently, I work in Mid-Michigan's Midland Hospital as a transporter, and I see technology used all day, every day. I will also be attending nursing school in 2022, so I sort of know what's going on with classes I've taken previously. To begin, I'll talk about how healthcare workers use technology to communicate within each other. Second, I'll discuss how patients and nurses or doctors communicate within the field. And then finally, I will discuss new and upcoming technology that will be used in the field as well. Communication between workers in the hospital is vital to a smooth shift no matter what day or what's going on in the day. From nurses requesting clean equipment or testing facilities needing their transport of patients to them or back to their rooms, technology is being used in every department one way or another. The main way that workers use to communicate what needs to go where is by use of something called the Rover app. Alex Grimling, a writer and researcher for IT Health Leaders, made a post on July 11, 2016 in the article What is Epic Rover, stating Rover displays relevant medication advisories at the point of care, supports reporting of vitals, and provides a clinical summary of allergies, labs, and current medication so they can monitor the intake and output. Clinicians can also update administration details such as dose, route, or site. Nurses can also message all or specific on-call doctors in order to get faster help when needed, almost like a group message. Walsh University published an article on July 18, 2012, outlining how important it is that information is ready for any healthcare workers at all times so that nothing is overlooked and all parties involved with the care of the patient share all the same information. Most hospitals are now using electronic charting. Once you're admitted, all of your information is shared on a protected document that can only be pulled up by a administrator or someone who is in your care whenever they need. Nurse-to-nurse communication is also way simpler now than it ever has been. Walsh University went on to state in the same article that nurses have multiple ways to contact each other for assistance, questions, or any other situation that may arise. All nurses have a specific phone assigned to them named an ASCOM with a number that can be called. The Rover app says who requested a patient or equipment and gives the nurse's location and phone number for any questions that the transporters or anyone else in the hospital might have. When transferring a patient from one floor to another, both the current nurse and the new nurse are assigned to the patient so the two can talk to each other over the phone or any other means about the chart and the care plan for the current patient. Now that we have discussed how communication works between the staff, here's a few interesting ways that the technology is utilized between the patients and the staff. There are many different devices hospitals can use for patient monitoring, which communicates information to a whole slew of different parties. Many patients are hooked up to electronic monitors with the use of wireless technology. Nurses can monitor different aspects of multiple patients at once at a workstation. This can include like heart rate or oxygen levels as well as blood pressure and temperature. Some hospitals even have a specific group of people who, a specific group of workers that are there just to monitor all patients to be sure that nurses know when something changes drastically, like a change in heart rate, whether it's elevated or decreased heart rate, oxygen levels depleting, something like that. Hospitals also utilize technology to keep an eye on restless patients. There is an item commonly used called the AV-Assist. This allows a company to keep track of confused or problematic patients with the camera. The patient and family must know about the device first so it doesn't cross any kind of trust issues or boundaries, and the device will buzz the nurses when the patient needs attention. The company can talk through the camera with a speaker to like calm the patient down and make sure that they know that everything's going to be okay, and sometimes just to remind them that they're in the hospital and that they need to wait for a nurse. And if something happens where the patient gets up or they're pulling at an IV, the abscess will actually buzz so the whole floor hears them and everyone comes running in to make sure the patient doesn't harm themselves or someone else. There's also a technology to communicate with the family. Every day people go down for surgery, and while they're down there, the family usually have to wait somewhere in a waiting room or the cafeteria, or just even if they're out getting food, they're waiting on a phone call. Now, at least at Mid-Michigan, they have monitors everywhere, like TV screens, where the patient is assigned a number and it tells the family, no matter where they're in the hospital, if they are in pre-operation, if they're currently having the operation, or in post-operation or recovery, where usually the family at that point will get a phone call saying you can head back up to the room, the patient will be arriving shortly. Of course, technology is always evolving as well, so there are a few new technologies and ones yet to come to nursing that will help the communication and patient care in the future. New ways of communicating and teaching the nurses are being discovered all the time. According to Dr. Mesko, a doctor who writes the blog The Medical Futurist, states in his article, 8 Digital Health Technologies Transforming the Future of Nurses, that 3D printing has been a new and helpful way to show students models of different organs and body parts and how they work together in the human anatomy. This is a great way for students to actually point out what is being described to them and even take it, and some of them will connect to each other so you can see how different organs interact and how they connect. Portable monitors, or portable and more friendly devices, are starting to show up more and more too. Dr. Mesko went on to mention that new devices are becoming more portable so that nurses can keep them on their persons instead of having to go hunt down machines. Sometimes nurses can spend up to 30 minutes looking for a specific item on a completely different floor, leaving their patient vulnerable and having to have another patient watch them, which just causes a whole mess of problems. So now there's almost smartphone-like devices that will keep track of certain patients' like blood sugar levels or temperature and oxygen, like I stated before. And all of this will also be updated into the charts very easily with the touch of a button, or information that can just be copy and pasted. Even artificial intelligence is starting to show up more and more in the field. Some AI can be used to access risk in different scenarios so nurses know what to watch for. Some programs being made to watch over patients, like the AV-Assist, will alert staff when something's going on, and other AI are starting to almost make formulas so they can know how a certain patient's system will react to different surgeries or medication. So for today, I discussed the role of technology and how it is used in staff-to-staff communication. I then went on to discuss how technology is helping communicate information between nurses and patients and vice versa. And then I went on and told you guys how the nursing field is evolving with technology and how that is helping us communicate to new nurses and patients alike. With new technologies coming out every day, nurses around the world are getting new and better ways to communicate with each other and their patients. And technology will never stop evolving and aiding the life of healthcare. Through automated tests and monitoring systems to different ways nurses can have different information they need right at their fingertips, it will always just continue to grow. So I hope you guys took something from this and feel a little bit safer at hospitals when you go and visit. Thank you.